All right, so today we're going to be testing out more Phoenix EOD. So I have here Apex Auto Wash. I put about an ounce, well, 100 milliliters into my foam cannon, so that would be like 2 ounces into my foam cannon, filled the foam cannon up with water. I also have the Kraken right here, which is, this is a ready to use all-purpose cleaner. So I took 1 part of Kraken, the concentrate, and mixed it with 10 parts of water inside this bottle. So there's 11 ounces in here total, 1 ounce and 10 ounces. And I like that they give you these bottles for dilution. The Kraken comes as a concentrate bottle, but with an empty bottle and a sprayer for you to mix it and dilute it yourself. I also have the Furies, which is an iron remover and wheel cleaner. And this is ready to use. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the APC to spray out the wheel wells, and we're going to use the Furies to spray out the wheels, and we're going to let this dwell and go from there. Typical iron wheel cleaner that smells like crap. Just got a whiff of it. Oops. And then spray a little bit on the tire as well. Iron remover and wheel cleaner. And then we'll try this APC out inside the wheel well here, where we have this dirt. And we'll just go around the rest of the car and do the same thing. Have our wheel brush here. We can give this some agitation. Our foam cannon, like I mentioned, I've got 100 ml of soap in here, foam cannon filled with water. So now that we've foamed our car, we can mix up our bucket. Some great foam from the Apex Auto Wash. Pretty happy with this overall. It's got just the right amount of run, so 100 milliliters in my full cannon. I think is probably a good number. Maybe go a little bit less, something like 75, 80. But overall, I think it's the right consistency. Lubrication wise, it feels slick, feels good. It's not like that big pillow of foam where my mitt is, you know, floating on top of it, or pad, I'm sorry. But it does feel good. So we'll go around and hit the whole car. Spend some time rinsing these wheels off. All right, rinsed off well. No problem so far. We'll get this dried off. And let's use their drying aid. Let's try out their drying aid some more. All right, so this is Typhon, which is their hybrid detailer. And I haven't used this yet in direct sunlight, but doesn't seem to have any issues. I have done a dry car inside before. Last but not least, we have Typhon. So Typhon is an interior cleaner. This comes in a concentrate bottle. You dilute it down yourself. Again, they give you a bottle for it. So we'll spray some here on the dash. Okay. Seems to work well on vinyl surfaces. Not a high gloss left behind. Try it on a screen here. Does well on that. No streaks. Let's try it on glass because they don't have a glass cleaner. All right, that worked pretty well. I'd say Pellis Panel Prep could also be a glass cleaner if you wanted it to be. Well, this is a House of Rags Jobber towel, which I believe is a 350 GSM, 360 GSM. Cool. We'll get these painted surfaces here. That seems to do well. Yeah, not too bad. Let's hit this window with it. There's like maybe a bug splatter right here. Wipe that off. You can see this jobber isn't linting, which is nice for a towel that's, you know, kind of fluffy. It has a fluffy side and a non-fluffy side. So the non-fluffy side would actually probably be better for windows, but still doing a great job. Not a bad scent, very light, very fresh, I guess would be the way to describe it. So it is a interior cleaner and odor neutralizer. Remove stains, stubborn odors, scent and dye free. Ideal for use on carpets, floor mats, upholstery, microfiber seats. Excellent for household use and even works fabulously on pet stains. Try it on a leather seat. Let it dry. It's got a nice matte finish, not all glossy. Wipe off the armrest. So yeah, works really well. Okay. So we've gone through the entire line at this point. We'll talk about each of the products one by one, and I'll give you like an overall view of the entire product line. So first off, Hydra rinseless is actually really good. I did have an issue with the dilution because the bottle said 128:1. Apparently it's been updated on other bottles and I got an early of the newest Hydra. So, you know, whatever, that's fine. It seems to have a lot of cleaning action, especially for like wheel dust. My sponge spent some time in the bucket inside the Hydra and all of a sudden there's less brake dust on it. So it seems to do a really good job of like breaking stuff down over time and actually cleaning out your products. Now, part of that was I used it at 128:1, but I did use it again at 256:1 off camera, and I had a great experience with it as well. It's got good slickness, good scent, good usability. You know, overall, pretty good experience. I do like that all of the products had these red stoppers put in them so that they didn't leak in shipping. It's a nice touch. I didn't have any problems with any of these stuff getting here, any of it being, you know, broken, damaged, leaking in any sort of way. Next, we use Typhon. So Typhon is a hybrid detailer slash drying aid slash ceramic detail spray. This worked really well. I like this. It's got great slickness, good scent. I would compare it to something like a bead maker OG drying aid in terms of slickness. I feel like it's got great slickness overall. It's got a great scent. It's green, you know, whatever. Doesn't really matter to me what color it is, but it works really well, and I had no problems with it, either following the soap wash with Apex or the Hydra rinseless wash. No problem either way. Pelvis panel prep. So we used this as a panel prep when we were testing out the polishes, as well as before applying the coating, as well as I tried it out as just a window cleaner, and it worked well for all of those. It's clear, it doesn't have any dyes or anything like that. If it's very, very strong alcohol scent, but a lot of panel preps do. It worked very well. I didn't really have any issues with it. I used it straight, right from the bottle. Furies worked well. Iron breaker wheel cleaner. Didn't have any issues with that. We got that purple action as it came off the car. Not particularly, well, I didn't foam it on the car. It had good cleaning action on the tires as well as on the wheels. Even though it doesn't say that it's a tire cleaner, I still had good action once I agitated with a brush. Acid-free, pH neutral, so it's not gonna attack your wheels. Overall worked fairly well. Kraken and Typhon. So Kraken is a concentrate APC. I really do like the idea of including a dilution bottle along with your concentrate. So they give you this concentrate 15:1. They give you a dilution bottle to dilute it in, or a 10:1 this one is. So you've got now a ready to use bottle that has the proper labeling, the proper directions, all of the proper stuff on it. When everybody else just gives you a bottle of concentrate and you have to find your own bottle, you have to dilute it yourself and you have to make your own chemical happen, and then you have to like make your own label for it and figure all of that out. I like this as a nice ready-to-use system. I've got this to refill my bottle. I've got this as my ready-to-use. Typhon, same way, interior cleaner concentrate, interior cleaner bottle. This one was 10:1. 10:1 to 15:1. I filled this 16-ounce bottle with 1 ounce of product and 15 ounces of water, and it worked really well. Didn't have a lot of foam, which I really don't care for. It has like a P&S Express interior cleaner style scent without quite the soapiness of Express. Worked well on screens, worked well on windows, worked well on the dash, didn't leave anything glossy. Overall, I think this was a great product, and I really enjoyed using it. It worked fairly well. It's not a product that seems to leave any sort of protection behind, but I can appreciate that. Next, we have Apex Auto Wash. I use this as a foaming soap as well as soap in my bucket. I put an ounce in my bucket with about 4 gallons of water. Worked really well, got great foaming action. I put about an ounce in my foam cannon and filled it up to the rest with water. So that's about 120 mLs to about 880 mLs of water. I think that was probably the right amount to put in the foam cannon. I maybe could put a little bit less. The foam came out really thick, but it did have some runs and it did kind of drip off, and you want it to have that bit of falling action where it's actually bringing stuff off of your car. Good lubricity, did a good job of breaking down bugs, making it so that grime was easy to wipe off. Overall, great product, worked very well. This one, I was surprised, it doesn't really have a scent. Most soaps have a scent to them, this one didn't, and that's fine, but you know, it's just something to point out. A lot of us like our scents, but that one doesn't really have one. Papa Cut and Fabulous Finishing Polish. Both of these worked really well. They are diminishing polishes. I did find that the working time was very long. So you could work them and work them and work them for a long time without them drying out, without them dusting, without them causing any sort of issues with wiping the products off the car. Especially if you sprayed the Peleus panel prep on them, you could get good wipe off and you could clean the surface pretty easily and not really have any problems. I did find that if I didn't work them long enough, I got a little bit of hazing. So that's kind of normal if you're using a really aggressive compound or a really aggressive polish, where if you When you wipe it off, you end up with a little bit of haziness, and then you need to follow it up with something that is a little bit finer to remove that haziness. That's typical. So with a diminishing compound like this, we're expecting this to break down the more that we use it. So there's going to be some abrasives in here, and they're going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as we use them, and it's going to finish finer and finer as we go on. I like the clear bottle. I like that it's easy to tell how much is in there. It doesn't really have a scent. I mean, there's a scent there. It's not really terrible. It smells like a polish. It smells like there's a solvent in it, but it's not strong or overall like difficult to use. This one actually smells pretty good. A fabulous finishing polish, but they worked really well. I used this one with a wool pad. I used this with a foam pad. I had good cutting action. I was able to get a little bit finer with like a micro cut, something like this, but this is a very, very, very fine polish. And honestly, if I worked this a little bit longer, I probably could have gotten there too, just being fair. So next we get to the two coatings. We have Immortal and we have Kronos. So I applied Immortal and Kronos to the side of the Mini Cooper, Immortal on the back and Kronos on the door. And what I found was that Immortal went on really easily, sprayed it on, let it sit for a couple minutes, wipe it off, did an excellent job. I didn't have trouble leveling it. I didn't have trouble with hazing. I didn't have trouble with high spots. It didn't have a ton of slickness, and I like slickness when it comes to ceramic coatings. It didn't have a ton of slickness. I compared it to Armor Phobic, and Phobic had a little bit more slickness than Immortal did. You know, overall, it was pretty good. This has been out a lot longer than Phobic has, so like, let's just be fair, like this was more of an originator than Phobic, which is more of a newer product, so there might end up being a newer iteration of Immortal that then increases the slickness a little bit more. Kronos, on the other hand, that went on very well, no issues leveling, no issues with high spots, came off very well, buffed off very easily, and the slickness of that built. So it started off, it wasn't incredibly slick after I first wiped it off. Like CSL EXO is kind of like instantaneously slick. This isn't really instantaneously slick. It kind of builds over time, and the more you let it cure, it gets better and better and better. I did find that using 2 layers of the coating did do better than just doing 1 layer of the coating, and that I had better slickness and better gloss overall after using the second coating. And it, you know, does say right on here that you can do 2 layers, and you know that you will get that, right? So they don't lie about that. They tell you that you can follow it up with itself and that you will get additional slickness. And I found that to be true on my vehicle. Now, a 30 ml bottle is typically enough for me to do 2 cars of the car sizes that I typically drive. An SUV, probably not so much. But the Mercedes-Benz, this mini, that mini, I could do an entire car with about half a bottle. So if you wanted to do a 2-layer coating of Kronos, you could buy one 30 ml bottle for a reasonably sized car, and you could get by with all of that. I didn't have any issues with it on plastic. I did apply it on the plastic around my mirror. I had good gloss there, no haziness or white dust or anything like that. It did a great job. Again, easy to level, no high spots, overall easy application. Now let's talk about like the line as a whole, what I really like, what I don't like. First off, the bottles are nice and consistent across the board. I like that they all look the same, whether it's a polish or it's a spray or it's a concentrate. They have different caps on them, but they're the same bottle, the same logos, the same layout. I don't love products that give themselves like weird names, like the Furies and Titan and Hydra, because it makes it so that like you have to decipher this name to figure out which bottle it is that you're picking up or which product it is that you want to use. I'm not going to knock them too much for that, because like right underneath Hydra, it says Hydra Rinseless Wash. It's just in smaller font. So if you are like right on top of the bottles at the shelf, you could just read the smaller writing that is directly underneath it. They get an added point because they give you these dilution bottles. The dilution bottles are awesome, and nobody else really does that. CarPro has a dilution bottle, but it's like a general dilution bottle that has measurements on the side, but it doesn't like have the right logo and all of the stuff. If you look at the Kraken and the Kraken, they have the same logo, the same words. This one says RTU, this one says concentrate. They're both 16-ounce bottles. The directions are on the back. The health and safety concerns are on the back. Like, you end up with a properly labeled bottle on your shelf instead of having to come up with your own custom thing because you bought a concentrate. That's really nice. And other product families do that slightly differently. So DIY Detail, I'll use them as an example. When you buy a 16-ounce bottle of their All Clean, that one's ready to use. You buy a gallon as a concentrate to refill that. So there are other brands that are dealing with that in a slightly different way. In this case, you buy this concentrate 16 ounce, you get this concentrate RTU. And I like that it's a 16 ounce because this is gonna go a long way. A 16 ounce bottle that you're diluting 15:1 is going to make 256 ounces of product. 256 ounces is 2 gallons of APC. And as often as you use an APC, like that's actually going to last a long time. One thing that I would like to see in a concentrate is the Furies, the wheel cleaner. I used a fair amount of that doing 4 wheels. I would expect that, you know, this bottle would probably let me do my car 4 or 5 times. In general, that's about what I get out of a 16-ounce spray bottle of a ready-to-use wheel cleaner. Typhon, same thing. That one, even more so. I appreciate the fact that it's a 16-ounce concentrate and not a 1-gallon concentrate. I've had this gallon of interior cleaner from P&S up on the shelf that I dilute when I put that into my spray bottle. That gallon is 4 years old and it's only a quarter used. It goes so far and it lasts so long and you dilute it so much that, like, unless you're a professional detailer, having a gallon concentrate really, as a complete line, I like them. Most of the simpler full lines are missing some level of product. Like Armor Detail Supply, for example, doesn't have a polish or compound. Blue doesn't have a coating. So the fact that they give you kind of everything that you need, there is a rinseless, a detailer, a wheel cleaner, an APC, a regular soap, a polish, and a compound. Like, you could actually do anything that you want to do with this line. It's a very complete full line. The Typhon has some odor neutralizers and stuff like that into it. You know, maybe you would end up needing, if you get into really dirty products, or if you get into really dirty cars, maybe you end up needing like a dedicated carpet cleaner or something along those lines. They don't give you a tire cleaner, but both the APC and the wheel cleaner did well on the tire, so I don't think that you really need one. They don't give you a tire dressing. That's really the only thing that I would say is missing here, is I don't have a tire dressing. They do give you a wax, and Glossum wax is something that I didn't test. It does smell good. It smells like a carnauba. I will test this out on a hood or something along those lines in the future and give you guys some info on that. A lot of us aren't really using waxes anymore, and I don't want to be applying a wax over the top of a coating. That's really not fair to, you know, test the wax in that way. Both of the coatings worked well. This one's super easy to apply. This one's a little bit less easy to apply because it's a more traditional coating, but it seems to have better protection, better slickness, better gloss. I personally would go for Kronos. So if we talk about the products that, you know, are here and which ones I'm going to keep versus not keep, I would say literally every single one of them is usable. I think that they're all great products. I think my overall favorites in the line would be Hydra, Titan, and Typhon. I think Hydra was an excellent rinseless wash that had great cleaning capabilities. Titan it was a great detailer. It left good gloss, good slickness. I really liked using it. It worked very well. And Typhon, I like the fact that it's a clear cleaner. I like that it doesn't really leave anything behind. It's got a nice fresh scent. It reminds me of the things that I like about P&S interior cleaner, and it doesn't really have the things that I don't, like that soapiness and that little bit of residue or film that you end up with after using it. I think that these are the 3 that are really like the standout products in the line. Everything was usable. I'm going to keep Papa Cut and Fabulous sitting on the shelf here. I'll use up all the Apex Auto Wash and the Furies and the Concentrate APC. I don't know that I'll necessarily reorder those particular products. These ones will last me a long time, I'm sure. And I'm going to apply Kronos on the rest of the Mini and just do the whole rest of the car with 2 coats of Kronos just to finish that all off. I will say my one really critical thing that I would say could be improved about this is the sprayers kind of suck. And that's harsh, I know, but Armor's using these style sprayers, and Rupes uses these too on their cleaners. Kosh Chemi's Blue line uses these, and Labo Cosmetica uses them. These are excellent sprayers. They work incredibly well, and you can really like dial in the mists. Detail Co. and Pan and DIY Detail are all using Tolco sprayers, kind of the same thing. These sprayers have 4 sides to them, and you can turn them off. That's off. Stuff doesn't come out, works fine. They have a stream. There's our stream. and they have a fan. But every one of these, the fan was really heavy on the left and very light on the right. And for certain things like your wheel cleaner or the APC, I kind of want something in the middle. I want a fan, but I want the fan to be kind of like a 25-degree fan and not like a 45-degree fan or a 65-degree fan. Like the fan is really wide when it's on the non-stream, but the spray version of it. You know, for me personally, I would say like to level this line up just a little bit, I would go from these sprayers to either Tolko's or these. I don't know who actually makes these. These come on the Marilex bottles as well, like the these. So they're available in other colors as well. This Marilex Mini Viton has it on it. So those, you know, those overall are my favorite sprayers. The pop tops for the soap and the polishes and like all of that stuff, that all works fine. This works fine. I like the red caps. I think overall the packaging is very good. That is, it feels like a nitpicky thing, but using the sprayer really like, it's like when you buy a product from Apple, Apple invested billions of dollars into figuring out packaging. And you pull these tabs off and you lift the lid and your laptop is like presented to you in this box, right? And it's like that initial thing, like you love it from the very beginning. And I feel like when you have to use a sprayer that is not the best, even if the product is really good, if your user experience isn't as good as the products are, then you know, it ends up detracting from the experience overall. And then you end up swapping to different sprayers. And we as detailers all have a drawer full of sprayers. Mine's down there. And I could swap these out for a Tolko tomorrow. And I honestly probably will. These sprayers just aren't that great. And they're the same ones that Geon uses. So like, I don't want to call out Phoenix EOD for like, quote unquote, being cheap. Like, they suck on Geon bottles too. They suck on Chemical Guys bottles. They're like the same sprayers that they all use, and they do eventually fail. So that's the one thing that I would say is like, if you're going to buy these, I think that they make an excellent line. I think that if you swapped out the sprayers, particularly on the wheel cleaner and the RTU or the APC, that's going to increase your user experience significantly. On Titan, it wasn't really a big deal because you're spraying the whole panel. It was heavier on one side than the other, but you're wiping it anyway. The interior cleaner, again, it didn't really matter to me, but I would just say better sprayers overall are going to improve the line tremendously, and these are the ones that I would recommend. And if they can't get these, then the Tolkos would be the ones to go with. So that's all. I have to be nitpicky. These are excellent products. And everything that I've tested this year has been really an excellent product. So I have to start getting nitpicky. I'm grateful for Aaron for sending me these products to test. I really appreciate him putting confidence in me. These are available at the House of Rags if you want to test them out. If you're filling up your cart and you're at $100 and you're looking for a couple things to add in to get you over that 125, try out Hydra, try out Titan, try out Typhon. They're great products. Everything in the line was great. Those are, I think, the superior in the line. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.